is Rick Passek, the FlyFish Fanatic, and welcome to my tying bench. Today we're going to do a dry fly. It's a larger pattern dry fly. It's a sedge pattern. I absolutely love fishing sedges when they're hatching, when they're on. I fish nymphs all the time, but the sedges when they come out and they start hatching, it can be an absolute blast. I mean, I've had some absolutely amazing days on lakes like Peter Hope and Community and stuff like that with sedges. They can be a lot of fun. So this is my take on a sedgehog. So I will switch over to the other camera so you guys can actually see what's going on. So that is what I will be tying today. I'm going to actually turn on my other light as well. Give it a second to, there you go. So this is what I'm going to be tying. Like I said, it's kind of my version of the sedgehog. I'm using a little bit of foam in the ass end as well, just to help it float a little bit more. I mean, there's so much flotation in this fly. This one here is actually, the body is tied with a blend of green and orange Semperfli. Oops, sorry. It's the sparkle dubbing. So I use the burnt orange. See if you guys can see that. Yeah, the burnt orange, the Semperfli burnt orange and the green olive. Right? So those are the two colors that I used on this one. I'm going to be actually tying something different. It's going to be an experiment. What I'm going to tie today is the same fly, but I'm going to use the Semperfli Kapok dubbing. This stuff is the stuff that used to be in life jackets. And it's been obviously dyed to many different colors. So that's the one range of colors, and then there's the other range of colors there. So, but this stuff floats forever. It's almost impossible to sink this stuff. So that in conjunction with the deer hair should make this thing float forever. So we will see. We'll see how it does. So I'm just gonna get my everything set again for you guys. So for the tail, I'll be using just some 4mm sheet foam. I've already got a piece cut out for myself, and I just tapered the end a little bit. That's gonna be my tie-in point, so it squishes it a bit better. Just some natural deer hair, natural body, and like I said, the Kapok dubbing. What I've done is I've blended the caddis pupa, the green caddis pupa here, with some of the sulfura, the kind of an orangey yellow. So I've blended that together here. We'll see how it works. In the vise, we've got a Hens BL599 in a size 8, and I will be using some Semperfli Nanosilk in a 12-aught. So just a little bit of wax in my thread there, just to make sure that it all sticks well. If you don't like using wax, or if you don't have wax, just put a drop of crazy glue or whatever kind of instant glue you have. I know that's what a really good fly tyer out of the UK, Lindsay Simpson, that's what he uses. He always puts a little drop onto the hook and then spins it on. So just gonna give a little bit of a base there. I'm gonna take my foam. Now I don't want to go right to the front, because I don't want to build up too much right there, because I'm going to be building a head and stuff. So I'm going to go back just a little bit. Just lightly catch that in. Make sure to, if you're using a Nanosilk or a GSP or anything, that you spin it every once in a while, counterclockwise, to flatten that thread out. Otherwise you will cut your foam. That's not a maybe, you will. So it does seem like this is a bit of a fat body, but it doesn't work out that way at the end. I mean, the sedgehog here, like I said, you want this thing to float, right? So all this different floating properties, the foam, the Kapok dubbing or Kapok dubbing, and the deer hair make this thing float forever. I mean, it floats forever without the Kapok, so I'm just going to assume it's going to float even better. So I don't want too big of a tail, so I'm just going to just a little bit of a butt there. So I'm just going to cut that off. I can come in there if I want to. Excuse that noise. I can just round off this corner a bit if I want. Just a little bit. You don't have to, but you can. Just so it doesn't catch and spin, because sometimes they'll like with booby eyes and stuff, they'll spin, but that's usually if it's on the front. So you don't really have to do that. That was just to show you that you can do that if you wanted to. Got a little bit of a nip there. Just clean that up. You're not going to see it anyway, but whatever. Okay. So first thing, I'm going to take a piece of part of my deer hair. I've actually already cut a piece off, and it's already in my stacker. So just going to do this on my hand here, because if I do it on the desk, it's going to make all kinds of gross noise and shake the camera and all kinds of stuff. So I'm just lined up my tips. So now I've got my stack there. Now I'm going to actually just grab it right by the tips there, and I'm going to pull out all the short ones, the under fur if there is any. It depends on what kind of deer hair body you guys get. If you can get a good one that's a summer one, that's even better, because then it won't have as much of the under fur. But it all depends on what you can get. And I mean, it depends what you're using too. You can use red deer, you can use roe deer, you can use whitetail, you can use whatever you want here. So I wanted to extend a bit past that tail that I put in the foam, so about there. So I'm just going to transfer that over, and again flatten out my thread, and I'm going to take a couple of loose wraps before I tighten down just a little bit. Tighten it a little bit more, a little bit more. Again, this is because I'm doing it the way I'm doing it is because these GSPs, the Nanosilks and other tying silks like this can cut this stuff really, really easy. So you got to be a little bit more careful with it. So now I'm just going to slowly just lift up all the butts here. Just clean them off. Again, if it's not perfect, guys, it's not a big deal, because it's all going to get hidden in the next layer and the next layer. The only one that really matters really a lot is the very last one. And even that doesn't have to be perfect, because you're going to build up a little bit of a, you're going to build up a little bit of a dubbing head anyway. So this doesn't have to be perfect, but there. So that's looking pretty good. So now that I've got that cut, again, counterclockwise spin to flatten it. Just go through that deer hair, make sure it's all tied down nicely, and then just get right in behind there again. Now, you got several ways you can do this. You can dub it just by hand. You can do a dubbing loop. You can split thread. I'm going to try a split thread here. I like doing the split thread. I find I got better control if I can split the thread, because I'm blind, but this Nanosilk splits really well. So now, I'm going to take a little bit of this Kapok blend that I made, and I'm just going to lay it right in between there. And I'm going to pull it out, so I want this to be spread a bit. I don't want it too clumpy. Then I'm going to just put my finger there and give the bobbin a spin, a really good spin. Just holding it up like that, okay? Then I'm going to let that go and let that actually give that a nice spin. So now I can shorten it up and just let it do its thing. While it's doing that, I'm actually going to grab another little chunk of my deer hair while it's doing its spin and put it into the stacker. Again, I'm going to get rid of all that underbody fur before I even put it in the stacker. Get rid of as much as I can. Tips into the stacker. I'm just going to let that sit there while I do this part. So now I'm just going to pull out anything that didn't get caught. And then just go back right over top there. Pull back if it doesn't. There, so just a little batch like that. Okay. Next spot, again, flatten my thread a little bit. Get my deer hair, So you just, all you're doing now is repeating that same step 3 times. Get my deer hair out. Get that little butt out of there. Again, same thing. Grab by the tips. Pull out any underbody fur, which this one doesn't have much of at all. But some of them will. So again, now I want to be the same length as that other tail. So there's actually a butt in there. Hold on, I want to get rid of that. I don't like having the little butts showing at the back. So same length, because we basically want to create a little bit of a V here, like a triangle when it's all done. So again, 1, 2 loose wraps, tighten a little bit, another loop, tighten it, tighten it, tighten it, and then you can 10, 12 times right in that same spot over top of each other. Just make sure that's nice. Again, grab all your butts. Again, doesn't have to be pretty here, doesn't have to be artwork, not at this point. Just clean off what you can. It's all going to get hidden anyway. Most of it's going to get hidden by the Kapok dubbing and then the next layer of deer anyway, right? So counterclockwise spin again, flatten out your thread so you can split it, or you can do your dubbing loop, whatever you feel like. Okay, another little piece of the Kapok here. Again, just spread that out nicely. Give it a good spin, clockwise this time. Okay, I'm going to shorten it again. Give that a really nice spin while I cut my next deer here. So this will be my last clump of deer here. So this one's going to be just a little bit bigger, a little bit more. Again, get off that under fur into my stacker. Just finish this off. Okay, pull out any of the stuff that's loose. Right over top. This also helps when you're putting the dubbing on, like I'm doing here. It also helps lay this back, right? It's not as flared out, right? So next stack of deer here. Grab those tips. Pull out any short ones or under fur again. Okay, and again, I want that to be roughly the same to that to the back where the other one is. Again, loose wrap. Make sure I spin that tighter, 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 tighter. Once you've got, 5, 6, 8 wraps in, you can't crank on it, but you can definitely crank more. So again, now you want to get this a little cleaner here. You want to make sure that it's cleaned up. All the little butts are gone as best as you can. You want to get that eye cleaned, the eye area cleaned. And if there's anything sitting underneath, like this one here, I didn't hold that great, so that one, it kind of, don't cut your thread off like that, it kind of spun around. Put my thread back on. Yeah, this deer hair spun on me a little bit, but that's okay. We'll get her. Yeah, don't cut your thread off. That's not a good thing. But It's also not the end of the world either. It's one thing I do have a little bit of a problem doing. I do that quite often actually, is cut the thread off because I'm blind in one eye, so kind of the depth perception thing kind of screws with me sometimes. So again, there we go. Make sure that's all nicely tied in. Now I'm going to grab, this time instead of using the Kapok, I'm actually going to take some of the sparkle dubbing in the orange, just a little bit of it. I don't want a ton of this. I just want a bit of an orange head here. You can also use it in the green if you like, or you can go do it ahead of time. You can actually make your own blend. Like this is another blend I like using, is a deer hair and a burnt orange, right, for the body. So, sorry, not deer hair, hare's mask. So just a little bit of a head there. That's actually enough. I'm going to pull some of that out. And then just make sure you pull it all back. Build just a little tiny bit of a head just right there. Get your whip finisher. Give that a bit of a whip finish, pulling all that dubbing back. I actually like doing 2 on this one. Actually, you know what? I think I'm just gonna put a little bit of, it makes life easier on these flies that got stuff at the front where you don't have a predominant head. I'm going to put the little bit of Sally Hansen's here right onto the thread for my whip finish. It just makes it a little easier so you don't get it into your dubbing and stuff as much, right? So another 5/6 turn. Cut off your thread. Take your dubbing brush, whatever kind you use, and just give that a bit of a pull out. And even that Kapok a bit, pull that out a bit as well. You see there, you've got a bit of a stray hair. Just get in there and just nip that out. You don't, if possible, you don't want any deer hair on the underside, even on the side. So there, that's not bad at all. So yeah, now just give that a bit of a wet just so you can see what it's, and that is the finished fly right there. So like I said, you've got lots of flotation in this fly. You've got all that deer hair, you've got that underbody foam and the tail foam, and then you've got that amazing Kapok dubbing. That stuff is going to make it float forever. Like I said, I got to try it out yet in this version. I have used the Kapok before, and on some small flies. For the rivers and stuff, some small dries, and it, like I said, it floats forever and a day. I haven't tried it on this yet, but I can't see why it wouldn't work on this if it works on the smaller ones. So yeah, so give that one a try. It's it can be a little challenging if you're not used to using deer hair. It can make a bit of a mess. I'm not a fan, to be honest, of deer hair. I don't like using this stuff because it just makes an absolute mess everywhere. There's just times where you just have to have it, and these caddis, these sedges can be just amazing. Actually, I just noticed that foam. There we go. Give it a bit of a twist so it sits on the back better. Alrighty, well, give that one a shot. If there's any flies you want to see, let me know. I'll tie them up. I'll do the best I can and try to do what you guys would like to see. If you like that video, give her a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, if you like the videos, please do. And smash that notification bell so you don't miss any further videos. I'm trying my best to do a video every Tuesday evening, every Thursday evening, and every Sunday morning. That's when they'll come out. And yeah, like I said, I'll do my best. So tie lines, everyone. Enjoy your tying. We'll see you in the next video.